You notice the title has a question. A net for fishing? For what? You want to finish this? We live in a sea. It's hard to believe, isn't it? We live in a sea. Sometimes I think we're like that little young fish that one day after playing with his other minnow friends came swimming furiously back to his mother and, "Mama, Mama." "What, son?" My fish mouth, it's not very good. "Mama, my friend said we have to have water to survive." "Yes?" "Well, Mama, where are we going to get it?" "Son, you're swimming in it." Sometimes we're like that little young fish. We don't realize that we're surrounded by a sea. Charles Fillmore said we were surrounded by a sea, not only of universal life all around us, but a sea of ideas and a sea of thoughts. He used the expression race consciousness. Everyone is thinking. Thinking is energy. And everyone is projecting that energy into an environment around this planet. We're all, besides transmitting to that environment, we're also receivers of. And a lot of stuff passes through our minds. A lot of things. Fish, in the Bible, fish represent ideas. A lot of fish get caught in the net of our minds. I'm sure you can remember having the experience of something passing through your mind and you thought, where'd that come from? How did I think that? A lot of stuff comes to us that we don't realize didn't necessarily come out of us. But if we don't have the awareness that we have the ability to say no to these things, to choose what thoughts we will hold in mind, we get a whole bunch of stuff going on in there. Well, I guess I have to think this. Who's the fish that gets hooked? I don't know about you, but in my young life, I was not taught that I had the ability to choose my thoughts. That if there was a thought passing through my mind that I didn't like, that was not to my liking, I could say no. I could deny the validity of it. But I wasn't taught that. Jesus understood this sea, and he understood that our minds are ours to use constructively or otherwise. Emmett Fox, he used to write a couple of paragraphs on the back of his Sunday church bulletins, and they were wonderful little, sometimes very funny words of wisdom, and one of them was called building and wrecking. And that we're constantly building by the thoughts that are constructive, that are good, but we're also wrecking when we're saying that's bad and that's no good and I don't like this person, or setting things in motion that we don't want in our lives. You've got this wonderful mind, the ability to allow thoughts to pass through your mind. It's a wonderful net. I can remember when I was young, that was only, 3 years ago. Yesterday. I like to quote Harvey Firestein, "Oh, I've been young and I've been pretty, just never at the same time." You know, the obligatory trip to Florida every year, back in the 50s, driving straight through, only stopping for gas or an occasional bit of food or necessary. My parents would take turns and I'd be in the back seat, probably about 10 minutes outside of Cincinnati, thinking, are we there yet? It was only 1,000 miles, you know, and that's before there was an interstate, so we were driving down Route 25, or what now 75 has replaced. Oh, and of course, no air conditioning in the automobile. You remember those long trips like that in the summer, and you had sandwiches packed with mayonnaise and lettuce, and they'd get a certain kind of taste after a few hours in the car like that. Yeah. Well, we'd go to Miami Beach. It was required. But I did see that some of the docks where the fishing boats came in, I'd see some of these nets unloaded with incredible catches of fish, but not all of them were fish. Sometimes there were other things. You'd call them crustaceans, perhaps. Not all the fish were desired for food. So they'd have to sort through what they caught. They had to discriminate, choose what they would keep and what they would throw back. I remember one time we're fishing off a pier near Port Everglades, where the big ships come in, and I was never a fisherman, and I probably was 9 years old, but felt something on the line, so I reeled it in, and I had an octopus. It was the cutest little octopus. It was a little baby. I wanted to keep it. My dad made me throw it back. It's amazing what you catch. It's amazing sometimes what passes through our minds has been caught by this net called your mind. But, well, Jesus talked about it in a parable, and that parable is found in Matthew 13, beginning in verse 47. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net which was thrown into the sea and gathered fish of every kind. Now, Chris, leave it there, and just leave the scripture up until we're done with it. Kingdom of heaven is like a net, which was the kingdom of mind. Is like your consciousness, which thrown into this sea of infinite thought around you, picks up all kinds of stuff. Some of them come directly from the mind of God. You get one of those wonderful ideas, you think, oh, that's a brilliant invention. And then you discriminate and you say, oh, well, I can't do that. That'll never happen. But 6 months, a year later, somebody else does, and they get rich, and you think, I invented that. I could have. Yeah, but sometimes we discard what's usable, what's valuable. But other times, we pick up some of these other things that are not fish to eat, or not good fish. The next passage, when it was full, men drew it ashore and sat down and sorted the good into vessels, but threw away the bad. Oh. Now, Is this bad as in intrinsically evil? Not necessarily. What is useful, what is constructive, what you perceive as constructive or useful right now. Does that change? Yes, you betcha. As we grow in consciousness, we begin to see further and more. We begin to see possibilities that we didn't know existed before. So some thoughts, some ideas that come to us may, when consciousness grows, seem now possible and valuable and good. So you're discriminating against what you want in your life now, what looks good to you in your life now, and discarding the things that either are not constructive, are not useful, or just simply you don't know what to do with them now. You're not ready for them. So will be at the close of the age. The angels will come out and separate the evil from the righteousness. Angels. I like the image, don't you? I've sometimes in the past wore a little angel pin on my lapel. I don't have one on, but I have one around. Angels are messengers in Aramaic. That's what the word angel means, a messenger from God. So you need to go. You need to go. They carry divine ideas to us. But angels travel two ways. They carry things back to God. Sometimes it's our moans. Oh, why'd that have to happen? Oh, woe is me. Hopefully, more often it's our prayers, our affirmation, our praise, our good thoughts. They're messengers carrying messages both ways, to God, to divine mind, and to us. The end, the close of an age. You've had a few closes of the ages, haven't you? Usually it's a pretty big day when you get finished with grade school. There was a time where there would be grade school graduation. We didn't. But it was a big time. Sixth grade, my school was broken into, first through sixth was in one building, the oldest, and 7 through 12 was in the other building. Seventh grade walked down the halls and changed classes right alongside seniors. So I finished sixth grade, and there was no fanfare, no big celebration or anything. I don't remember ever being told what to do, but I remember those of us gathering the beginning of the next school year in front of the door to the big building, looking at one another thinking, where do we go and what do we do? It was seemed like the end of a big portion of childhood for us. And the day came where there was graduation from high school. Then there was graduation and of an age when I completed college. And then those years on the road as a musician. And then that age ended. And I became a ministerial student. And thank God that age ended. And so the current age, here we are. We have cycles of growth, cycles of experience in our lives. These are the ages. So you come to an end of an age. Doesn't mean the end of the world. And if those people that are Sorry, yesterday didn't happen, did it? It's supposed to be the end of the world, the rapture. We were sitting there waiting yesterday, right? You wondered, wow, maybe I better hurry home or this car is going to be empty in the middle of the intersection. Yeah. Some of us do that anyway. Life goes on. The end of an age is not the end of the world. It's the end of these cycles. And they're good. It's good that these come to an end. It's good to have a new beginning, because after the end of an age, you have a new beginning. We have a holiday to celebrate one of those, right? New Year's Eve, to celebrate a new start. And we make all kinds of, hopes. I will use hopes for the new year. Do we remember that in order for it to be different, something has to change? And that's us, our minds, to experience new and different. When something has reached its fulfillment, the end of an age, it's an opportunity. And so many times I can look back on my life and find that those ends of certain cycles, phases, ages in my life, it was a time of really kind of looking back and saying, well, wait, what do I want to do next? Or what do I want to be different? It's a time to look over my past. Just like the end of the year is a time to look over the year and see what you want different in the new year. In the beginning of a new phase, during our life experiences, we may begin to be willing to make a choice. To make a choice about our lives, to make a choice of what we're going to think, what we're going to believe. And then we may become in the process of choosing, and then waiting for the results of our choices. And then we meet the results of those choices. These are all stages, and sometimes they seem to intermingle. Eventually we come to the end of an experience, the result of a process of choice, and it's an opportunity to go back and look to see how we want to move on into the next phase of growth. What do I want to hold on to? What do I want to take with me? Or is there excess baggage? There was a time I remember as a kid, in my grandmother's attic, it had a couple of steamer trunks. Do you remember those things? It seemed at one time everybody had to have one of them. Now we travel lighter, light luggage, smaller luggage, hopefully, carry-on luggage, so we don't have to cart that steamer trunk. But our lives, are we willing to live lighter, to let go of some of the limits we've been holding on to some of the ideas we picked up along the way that don't work for us, but we keep holding on to them? What kind of fish do I want to keep? What kind of beliefs still serve, and what kind are starting to smell a little bit like 3-day-old fish? And Jesus said the angels will come out and separate the evil from the righteous. We have guidance. We have even a test of what's good to believe, to hold on to think. The song I just played, it had a portion in there that comes from Philippians. And I'd like to go to the scripture from Philippians 4. Truly, brethren, whatever is true. So think about truth. You only live so many years and then you die. Is that truth? You want to throw that fish away right now. Whatever is true, life is eternal. God created you to be whole and well and free. Whatever is honorable, it's honorable to realize God is your infinite, constant, abundant source of supply. Not some person on a street corner you think you can get money away from or things away from. What's honorable? To see the Christ in other people, no matter how they appear. What is just? Did you ever get too much change back from a clerk? You return it because that's just. To keep it is theft. Whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is gracious, whatever is of God. If there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. This is the test. And thank you, Paul, for the list. Can we apply it to our lives? Can we look at that net full of ideas, of beliefs, of attitudes that we've gathered from a variety of sources, and some of them we don't even know where they came from? Is there any excellence? Is there anything worthy of praise? Is there truth, honor? Is there love? These are the things we keep. All else we release. Oh yeah. And in the scripture, he talks about what we release, the other fish, the other things being burned up in fire. It's all energy. It's fire, energy. And it returns when you release it, when you deny it and let it go. It goes back into pure potential for that energy to be reshaped and reformed into a new thought, another thought, a constructive thought. That's the fire of purification. So, let those angels, those divine messengers, guide you, direct you, give you inspiration on what to release, what to let go, what to hold on to, what is good and righteous for you to maintain. If you ask and you examine, you will know what to keep. You will know what is excellent. And you will think on these things. Imagine what kind of catch you will then have in that net we call your mind.